Writing a great book does not have to take years to complete. As a matter of fact, writing a great rough draft doesn't even have to take a month to complete. It can be done in 30 days or less. And in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what I would do if I wanted to write a book in less than 17 days. Now, this is the exact same process that I did when I wrote my fourth book, Big Idea to Bestseller. I wrote this book in 17 days. It was a 32,000 word rough draft. And this book has gone on to generate millions of dollars in sales on the back end of the book. And so what I want to do is I want to share with you, what did I do to get this book done? And how did I write it in a way that was actually going to convert? Now, if you have all the time in the world, that's great. But if you're watching this, you're probably a high performer. You're probably somebody who is interested in writing a book to grow their business. You're probably someone who doesn't have a lot of time in your day. And you're probably somebody who wants to do something once and then benefit for years and years to come. And so I want to show you how you can actually write a really high quality nonfiction book in a short period of time without having to sacrifice time away from your family, without having to stop running the business, without losing your momentum. And this is the process. This is what you can do. And we've had clients use this process to write outlines and write their rough draft in a weekend, on an airplane ride, in 27 days, in 34 days. And I'm just going to share with you what's worked for me and what's worked for the hundreds of people that we've supported on this adventure. Now, it's really, really important. The first thing I'm going to share with you is this. If you only have 20 minutes a day, that's fine. However much time you can allocate towards this is okay. The key is to make sure you're allocating the right amount of time for the deadline you're trying to set. And I'm going to walk you through the 5 steps that are really, really important here if you want to be able to write a great rough draft in less than 17 days. Now, the funny thing about this is I'm not even going to talk about actually writing. I'm going to talk about everything you need to do before writing so that you have your schedule and your time and your technique optimized. Because writing is one of the biggest mistakes that you can do right off the rip. If you just start writing and you just start writing, at first it may be like, oh, this is easy, this is a breeze. But inevitably, you're going to hit a point where you get stuck. The ideas don't flow. The stories aren't well thought out. And you're going to pause and reflect and edit. And you're going to create this cycle that's going to go on and on and on and on. And I don't want that for you. Instead, I want you to spend a little time doing the prep work so that then when you write the book, you can write it so fast and make it so good that it becomes ready for the next stage. So step number 1 to doing this is you have to create a commitment. Most people don't write books not because they don't want to do it. It's because they aren't committed for a long enough period of time to execute on the book. Most people have great ideas. It's often not knowledge that stops people. It's often the commitment to sharing that knowledge. And so the first thing that you need to do is to create a commitment to yourself. Now, whatever that time frame is for you, create that commitment. Honor that commitment. Because if you don't commit to this, if you don't honor that commitment, it's not going to happen. Now, before you say, I don't have enough time, I'm too busy, or I got so many other things going on, we always make time for the things that are most important to us in our lives. If you have a child, you don't just go days without feeding them, even if you're busy, right? If you are hungry, you don't just go days without eating, right? We make time for the things and the people that are most important to us. And so you have to honor your commitment and you have to create that commitment. So if this is something that you really want, first of all, just ask yourself before you continue, is writing a book something that I really want to do? Are the reasons for writing this book strong enough for me to actually do this thing and commit a few hours a week to this? If the answer to that is yes, then make the commitment, put it on your calendar that in 30 days from now, you're going to have your rough draft written. Boom. That leads us to step number 2, which is setting your intentions. The more clear you are on why you're doing this and the stronger the reason is, the more success you're going to have. One of our authors, she was an amazing author, and I said, why are you writing this book? And she said, because I want my kids to know my story. And I said, okay, fantastic. She starts writing. She gets in a little trouble. She says, Jake, I'm having a little bit of trouble. And I said, okay, do you feel like you know what your book's about? Yes. What's stopping you? And she goes, things just keep coming up. And I go, okay. Why do you want to write this book? I brought her back to it. Why do you want to write this book? And she said, because I want my kids to know my truth. And I said, how important is that for you? She goes, it's everything. I said, okay, remember that every single time. She was able to write her book in just a few weeks after that. So set your intention. And there are 3 types of intentions that you need to define. Number 1 is, what is your internal intention? What is the reason inside your gut? What is that gut feeling that's telling you to write this book? Maybe a lot of people have told you to do it. Maybe you've been wanting to do it. Maybe it's a lifelong dream. Maybe you want to impact people. Maybe you want to have legacy. What's that gut reaction, the internal reason of why you want to do this? The second intention is your external intention. So what do you want to happen as a result of you writing this book? Do you want to be a bestseller? Do you want to sign coaching clients? Do you want to build a retreat business? Do you want to create digital products? Do you want to write more books? What is the reason that you want to write this book? What would be the best type of recognition or result that could come from you putting in the effort? And then the third thing to consider here is, like, how would you define success? In every aspect of our life, we define success differently. And so it's really important to define what book success would look like for you. Let me give you an example. Because not everyone's definition of success in life, but definitely not everyone's definition of success with books is the exact same. And here's the example. I want to use a book to generate more high-ticket coaching clients. That's my definition of success. So if I can generate X amount of clients, I'm going to use vague numbers here. If I can generate X amount of clients worth X amount of dollars, then that would make this book successful. Somebody else might say, if this book will be successful, if it helps me grow my leads and my following by X amount. Someone else might say, this book is successful if it gets me $100,000 worth of speaking gigs. Whatever your definition of success is, have that in mind. This not only will keep you committed and help you reinforce your commitment to yourself, but it also is going to help shape the narrative of your book, making it easier to convert on the back end. Now, number 3. This is one of the pieces that if you nail this down and you try not to overcomplicate it, this will make your messaging so clear, and it makes your story so easy to choose from. It makes your experience so easy to decide what's most relevant, and it helps you really write faster. And that's this. Step number 3 is to define your book audience. Define your book audience. So often I hear, I want my book to help everybody. I love that for you. But what I really want you to do, especially if you're using this for business growth, is who's the best possible reader for your book? That if they read this book, it would change their life and they would tell everybody about it. Who is the best perfect reader for that book? And then that's where you're going to start. So we've built out this process to kind of help you further this along, which is your KPP process to finding your book audience. K stands for knowledge. What do you already know? What have you helped people with? What can you teach? What can you talk about? P is people. Who do you actually want to help? Have you already helped people similar? What are their characteristics about them? How do they identify? What are the demographics? What are the socioeconomic status, right? Dig into all of these different things. What's their job? What time do they wake up in the morning, right? Know your people. Who needs what you have to share? Is it you 5 years ago? Is it a family member who doesn't listen to anybody, but if they had this book, it would change their life? Who are the people you want to help? And then P is profit. Does your knowledge and the audience you want to serve match the profit you want to have? So if you sell something to first-time parents, don't write this book to people that aren't parents yet. Don't try to include them in this book, right? Because that's not who this is for. And there's people are not looking to invest or spend money or buy books on this particular topic. All right. So it's really important to connect the dots. Knowledge, people, profit. All right. Step number 4 is to add book time to your calendar. This is the step that a lot of people are like, I can do it without this. But time and time again, if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't get done. And so this is where we want to ask you to honor your time commitment and to really commit to putting time on your calendar. Now, again, every person is going to have a different style, and you're going to have different ways of doing this, different capacities, different availabilities. And so I want to give you 2 ways that we've seen work really, really well for busy people who are trying to write books. Number 1 is the daily commitment. I fall into this bucket. I'd rather put the same time on my calendar every single day and just go, go, go. I work during that time and then I'm done. And so this is where you put a 30 to 60 minute time slot on your calendar at any part of the day. could be mornings, afternoon, nights. We work with a lot of moms, and so sometimes they do it during nap time. Sometimes they do it after the kids go to bed. Sometimes they do it in the morning, right? If the kids are going to school. It all depends on what your schedule is like. But commit to it. When are you most likely going to show up and honor yourself? The second way of doing this is more of a time blocking way. So maybe you work a different type of job. Maybe it's you work 3, 4, 10-hour shifts. Maybe you work off day, on day, and you're doing a unique schedule. Maybe you have a part-time thing, whatever it may be. And so what I want to encourage you to do is potentially think about time blocking. So are there 2 to 3 chunks of the week where you commit 2 to 3 hours? And then that time is just where you can allow yourself to get creative. Some people who need more time to get in the mood or to really set the stage, this can work really well because you can give yourself 20, 30 minutes to get warmed up, to get loose, and then boom, you can actually be really, really productive. Now, whatever time you allocate, I always recommend including space for what's called your flow state of writing. Flow state of writing happens to every single person where once you hit this point where you're getting into the groove, you're like, oh my gosh, it's all just coming out of me. I need to just keep going. Never want to interrupt those amazing, amazing moments. So always give yourself a little extra time for flow state. And that's how you're going to really identify your book time. Now I'm going to give you one extra step here before I go to the final piece before you're actually going to write the book, which is this. If you want to write your book in 15 days, then allocate an hour a day for 15 days. If you want to write your book in 30 days, maybe pick 3 to 4 days a week that you're doing this on. If you want to write your book in 60 days, because you feel really, really busy or don't feel it's possible, then give yourself the time. Just put it in the calendar, commit to an end time, reverse engineer it, and put it on the calendar. That's the simplest way to do this. And then the step number 5, because again, we're not actually writing the book just yet. This is all the prep work that allows you to be able to write the book super, super effectively. And the 5th step here is to outline your book. Now, in my book, Big Idea to Bestseller, I have multiple chapters on how to find your idea, how to validate your idea, how to outline your book, and then literally the step-by-steps on how to write your rough draft. If you want to get a copy of this book, okay, if you want to get a copy, I want to give it to you for free. Just go to bigideatobestseller.com/free-book, enter your information, and we'll send you a copy of this book. Now, outlining your book. Outlining your book is so, so, so important. And again, some people are going to have different styles. So what works for you? Are you a super detailed outline person, or are you someone who likes to get all the ideas out and then expand later? Whatever it is fine as long as you know your style and you don't try to take shortcuts or just say, oh, I'll do it when I write. The key here is to outline your book into as much specificity as you can so that you know exactly what you're going to write about, and then you can update and change as you go. Let me give you an example here. When you're writing a book, a nonfiction book for business growth, you want to make sure your book contains 2 core things. Your educational side of things, what can you teach? What is your knowledge and how do you actually help people? Your framework, your methodology, your belief system. And then your experience side of things. This is the relevant stories you've had. This is the case studies you've produced, the testimonials you've had, the personal transformation you've gone on, the outside data and references that you want to include in this book. All you need to do for a great outline is to make sure that you have the key talking points from both sides, the educational side with the experiential side. Combine those together, and that's going to give you the basis for an outline. So if I was writing a book, let's say on how to write and launch a book, right? Kind of getting meta here, but if I were to write that book, which I did, I would say, okay, well, what can I teach? Well, I could teach that people, how do they outline their book? Okay. What do I know about that? Well, you need to find your idea. You need to validate your idea. There's the Avengers process to outlining your book. So these are all the things I can teach. Okay, now, how would I actually teach that? Bullet points. And then is there a story? Is there a case study? Is there something that I've experienced that would help tie it all together for the reader? Yes. Okay, insert this story. And then you now start to build out your outline. And I'm not going super, super deep. I have other videos on how to specifically outline the book. And I also have multiple chapters in my book, Big Idea to Bestseller, on how you actually do this. But the key is to create a great outline so that then when you go to write, you have all 5 of these pieces done. This is how you write a book super, super quickly. So now let's recap, and you can see how doing these 5 steps will help you write a book really, really fast. Step number 1 is to create a commitment. Now you're locked in. Nothing's stopping you from achieving this goal. Number 2 is you've set your intention. You know what the outcome is, so it's going to help us write the book with conversion in mind. Number 3 is define your book audience. We are clear on exactly who we can help and what we want to share with them. This allows us to be very specific in our messaging. Very, very helpful. Number 4 is you've added book time to your calendar. So now we know exactly when we're going to do it. We're committed to doing it. We know who it's for, and we know exactly why we're writing it. And then step number 5 is you're going to actually outline this book. By doing this, you've now set the stage to write your book efficiently, quickly. You know when you're doing it, you're committed to doing it, you know why you're doing it, you know who you're writing this book for, and you know exactly what the order is that you're going to do this. So there you have it. If I were to write a best-selling nonfiction book in 17 days, this is exactly what I would do to start. All right, if you enjoyed this and you want to get a copy of this book, Big Idea to Bestseller, it's a step-by-step guide on how to write, publish, and launch a nonfiction book, go ahead and go to bigideabestseller.com/free-book. And if you want our team to break down your idea, to help you understand what your intention is, and to help you actually make a plan of doing this, then go to bigideabestseller.com/call and book a demo to speak with me and our team. I can't wait to see your book come out. Trust the process, honor the process, but most importantly, have some fun with the process.